This is it, Tom. The last weekend of Breeders' Cup qualifying races. There's one race left on the 13th. Ordinarily, Tom and I cover races on Saturday, but we covered a lot of them last night with Scott Hazelton in the Players Edge podcast from TVG. So Tom and I are going to focus on Sunday races. So you have a little bit of, if your football bets aren't working out, you can head on over to Keeneland, right?
That's exactly right.
For sure. So we're going to be covering races 8, that's the Indian Summer Stakes, race 9, the Spinster Stakes, and race 10, which is the Bourbon. The Indian Summer, the winner heads off to the Juvenile Turf Sprint. For the Spinster, they go on to the Distaff, and then finally for the Bourbon, it's the Juvenile Turf. And boy, that Bourbon field is deep.
Yes, it is.
But they're all young, so you have no idea what you can expect out of that stuff. And ordinarily, we run through the profile of a winner, but unfortunately, the Indian Summer Stakes is not a graded race, so I have a difficult time finding the history. So we'll just go straight to what the profile, not a profile, but what the pace might look like, Tom. And then we'll go ahead and start breaking down the horses and then make our picks. What do you think?
That's wonderful.
All right, so let's let me pop this up here for you. So if you haven't done it yet while you're here, make sure you hit that subscribe button on YouTube. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter at Racing Radar. Okay, now back to the Indian Summer Stakes. Looks to me like the early pace is going to belong to Coffee Maker and Averly Jane, Pure Panic. And then on the way home, Sunny is Not So Funny. And when you try to just look at that word without reading it first and then try to pronounce it, go ahead. Averly Jane should also be pretty strong late, followed by Detroit Rock City. I think one of the best beginnings to a Kiss song. Would you agree with me on that, Tom?
I would.
Yes, indeed. So do you see anything in those early and late pace numbers that I'll bring them back up again, that you agree or disagree?
City is going to go to the front. Other than that, I agree with pretty much everything you've got.
Detroit, yes, that's one of my favorite Kiss songs too, Detroit Rock City. So let's go ahead and look at the field. You have Sunny is Not So Funny, won that last race in a big debut. It was pretty well bet too at Ellis Park. Since then, the workouts have been okay, nothing spectacular. What do you think?
I don't like a horse that breaks its maiden in July. Evidently, there was some health issues. This horse comes back off a layoff from July to October, tries to take on a kind of wet track at Keeneland. It's just up against it today. Obviously, I recommend anybody trying to get into the Breeders' Cup, but this horse will be a much better horse next year as a 3-year-old.
Coffee Maker. This horse had some success early at Keeneland, then went off to Ascot in Britain, kind of struggled in a Group 2 race over there, and then came back home and lost a little bit of its late legs in its first start at Kentucky Downs. A lot of times horses that make those international trip, that first race back is difficult, but the second one is a return to form. Do you think that's what you'll see?
I just don't like this horse. Yes, he won the Wesley Ward 4.5 spring race as a 2-year-old that he wins about 75% of these races. This horse kind of tired in its next 2 races. I think while this horse will like to cut back in distance, I just think the Barnmate is a much better entry and will be a better price. Okay.
Detroit Rock City. There you said this one you think is going to head off to the lead. It did show some speed last time out.
I think Sisterson and Bashiza are going to send this horse right to the front like they did in his turf debut at Ellis. I just don't think this horse has got enough stamina to hold him off the whole way.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of 3 times to break the maiden, and then the maiden break is not the top last race speed figure, or at least in terms of fractions amongst the top in the field. Number 4 is Pure Panic, and this horse last time out tried a $500,000 race and didn't really get very far. Maybe a cut back in distance helps.
Yeah, this horse is not a 2-turn horse. This horse is a sprinter. Maker's been winning everything, and I think this horse is a major contender today and will be overlooked and should be a nice price.
Yeah, we don't have any idea what the prices are because the odds aren't out yet. So this handicapping here is not in any way, shape, or form influenced by the odds, which is a positive. I call that odds bias or favorites bias, where people you see the odds at 2-1, and you're like, wait a minute, I don't like that horse, and all of a sudden you like him because you think you missed something. So I like the Forrest Gump handicapping, as I call it. You do the handicapping, and then when you open up the box and see what the odds are, you're surprised. A lot of times to the plus side. Big Boss Ben, obviously named, I think, maybe somewhat after the Big Boss Ben Roethlisberger out there in Pittsburgh. It's a horse that got off to an early start. Seems to me like it's one that might need a little bit of a rest.
I just think he ran into a tough track last time at Colonial, but I don't think this horse is good. The barn was willing to, they paid $15,000 for the horse, and they risked him in the career debut for $10,000 in a claiming race. So I think this horse is a little short on class, and when it raced at a stakes race last time, got exposed.
Number 6, Bonus Appreciation. Another horse to me that looks like first time on the turf, try to close a little bit, but maybe seems like it's a little bit over its head here too.
I would say this horse, I showed improvement and showed this horse is a much better turf horse than a dirt horse, and I think this horse could get a minor piece of the pie.
Yeah, maybe a little bit late. Averly Jane, horse has been hasn't made the turf start yet, but on the dirt so far has been untouchable. Do you think they can carry that form over to the grass?
Well, they wanted to run this horse on the turf last time, and the race got rained off. It isn't the horse's fault, and he still won by 7 lengths. Trainer's 24% on the turf. One of the 2 major contenders in this race.
Yeah, I think if he can get off to that kind of start like it has in the past and then still has that late kick like that, could be tough to catch. Number 8 is Roman Poet. This looks like to me another horse that, it has to revert back to its debut form, which was its best number. It's done nothing but regress race after race after race. Any hope that it can revert back to form?
Tom Amoss is very good at shaking up horses in the new barn. I think this horse will be in the Superfecta, but at the bottom end of it.
At the bottom end of the Superfecta. Number 9, Circle Back Jack. It should be Circle Back Jen, right? Because that's Jen Psaki's favorite saying. But in any case, the horse did show up well last time out. Did improve from race to race. I do like that the early pace numbers improved for Circle Back Jack. Not really been well bet. You think it'll maybe be a little bit better bet this time out off of the last race?
This horse is a maiden. There's no way. Go on to the next.
Zip Zero Nada. Diamond City. This horse is looking to me like one that's on the improve. Nice race last time out. Bet down to 4 to 5 odds. I think this could be a contender.
I just don't know what kind of horses this horse actually faced at Woodbine. I'm just leery of this horse to put it in. I think Cassie's a good trainer, and sometimes he struggles with that. I'm dominant at Woodbine, and then come Breeders' Cup time, the talent gap closes and catches up on these horses.
Yeah, I can see that for sure. So that rounds out the field, Tom. Let's talk about your picks. Who do you like and in what order?
I like Pure Panic to win. Averly Jane to run second. I like Bonus Appreciation to run third. And Tom Amoss is going to do a great job with Roman Poet and have it close out the Superfecta at a big price.
That's some aggressive picks there. For me, I'm going with number 7, Averly Jane. We'll take to the turf. Number 1, Sunny is Not So Funny. Number 2, Coffee Maker. And number 10, Diamond City. That's how I'm ranking them. The next spot up, we do have a profile of a winner, Tom, and that is on race number 9. That is the Spinster. That's 1 1/8 miles. This is for fillies and mares 3 years old and up. So we got a little bit more, I would say, consistency than you do with the babies. Let's take a quick look at what the profile of a Spinster winner looks like. Although the favorite has won 4 of the last 10, only 1 post-time choice has found the winner's circle in the last 7 years. And you actually get some pretty good prices on these horses. Usually the average winner went off close to 5 to 1. The highest odds of only 7 to 1. So you don't have a real big bomb in there, but you consistently have horses in that price. Looks like stalking or closing is the way to the title. 7 of the last 10 winners were at least 4th at the opening call. And it looks like you want to be a middle outpost because 7 of the last 10 to grab the hardware were a 4 or higher, with 5 of the 7 breaking from gate 6 and out. So the profile of a winner is a middle out stalker closer at odds of 5 to 1. That's kind of what we're looking for here, Tom. And then as far as pace is concerned, it looks to me like Latruska is going to be the fastest horse out of the gates, followed by Crystal Ball and Vuntante. And then on the way home, Crystal Ball and Bonnie South could be the ones with the strongest late legs anything in there you see that you disagree with?
Absolutely not. Latruska is going to be lone speed on the lead. Very tough at Keeneland to beat.
Yeah, that could be the case. I think I agree with you that we'll definitely be up on front, but I think maybe there might be a upset. I just have a feeling Latruska is due not for a bad race, but just an off race. Let's start with number 1. That's Dunbar Road. Did run the highest last race speed figure, is making its third start off a layoff, something that the horse has struggled to do, make 3 consecutive starts without heading to the barn. What do you think about Dunbar Road's chance?
That's how this horse has been through its career. This horse was a great turf horse in 19 when it won the Alabama at 1.25 miles in the mud. Finished third in the Breeders' Cup Distaff. This horse has just declined in talent since then, and this is kind of this horse's swan song. Like to take a shot at the champ, but just not going to get there today.
Number 2 is Bonnie South. Last time out was trying to get to Latruska. You think maybe a horse that has a history of possibly improving in the second race off a layoff will be enough to actually get to Latruska and
this horse
punch her way to the Breeders' Cup? What's that?
This horse is a talented horse, but just doesn't know how to win. Has only won 4 times in 12 races, and quite honestly, just never seems to get there. Never the bride, always the bridemaid, and I think that's what we're looking at again today.
Loves to finish second at the distance too. Run there 3 times, finish there 3 times. So yeah, you just go all Bonnie South, and you the trifecta. I hope you hit something big on top. Town Avenger, big win last time out on the slot by 9.5 lengths, but hasn't showed the same sort of, I would say, explosiveness on turf so far.
I don't think this horse is going to get there. I doubt if this horse even runs. This horse is in a class below. Might have thought this horse was going to draw into a 5-horse field. I just don't see them spending the money to run this horse.
I do like the fact that it had a nice bullet workout at Churchill. I would rather it had been at Keeneland, but that's okay. Number 4, Latruska. This horse has, ever since beating Menominee Girl, Menominee's Girl's fortune has gone south. They had to retired. All those My Racehorse people are probably happy about that. But this horse has just been nothing but on fire. Only a head away from winning 7 in a row and 8 of 9.
Just, does what she needs to do. He doesn't win impressively, but a couple lengths here, but just goes gate to wire. There's nothing to go contest this horse today. Irad will be able to command the pace, and it's just open the gate and let it go and catch me if you can. And I don't think anybody can.
Yeah, and it's just been bullet work after bullet work after bullet work since winning the last race. So I should be sharp again.
It could be your horse of the year.
Could be.
She
Yeah,
could
I
be
agree
horse
with
of the
you.
year.
Envutante is a horse that a lot of people seemed like to have. I know it was like the in pick the last time the two met up to beat Latruska, but didn't happen. Last time out, kind of faded a little bit late. Second time off a layoff, the horse does have a little bit of a history of getting better. I expect some improvement, but probably not enough to get to Latruska. What do you say?
No, this horse has been beat by several in this field when you look over at the common parts of the past performances, and will continue to be there. I mean, McPeak wishes he had his big gun going instead of this horse.
Number 6, Crystal Ball. This is a horse that we mentioned should be close to the pace early on, but also has some pretty good late pace numbers too. I think, Tom, the horse could maybe upset, and maybe you get some value here. This might be the one that goes off at 5-1 that lives up to the profile of a winner.
Nah, I just don't see it. I think the horses she faced in the Locust Grove and the Chuvy are not going to be the type of horses that she's winning today, and she didn't win either one of those races.
Yeah, that's for sure. Then number 7, High Regard. That wraps up the field. This looks to me like one of those horses we talk about, simply forgettable.
You got it, baby. No way. Tried the turf 3 races back, trying different things.
All right, so race number 9, it's time to make our picks to see who's going to go from the Spinster to the Breeders' Cup Distaff. Tom, who do you got on top?
Latruska will win this race because of no pace and no competition. Bonnie South will run second. Dunbar Road will run third. And Crystal Ball will run fourth.
Oh, my. I agree with you on third and fourth, Dunbar Road and Crystal Ball. I'm going to go for a little bit of upset. I don't know why. I just have this internal feeling that Latruska is going to have like a difficult trip or something's just not going to go right. And Bonnie South is going to catch her at the end and put the shocking upset in there and live up to the profile of a winner and give us a non-favorite on top of that ticket. The last race is the Bourbon. It's a grade 2. It's a mile and a 16th on the turf. For the babies, you have 14 horses entered, 2 also eligible. So you're going to have a big field here where absolutely anything can happen with these 2-year-olds, right? Has that been your experience too?
Yes, especially going 2 turns at Keeneland this time of year. It'll be a rodeo just like the Derby into the first turn in a full field of 14.
Yeah, it's going to be insane. And I think you're going to have a chance to get a good ticket. At least, again, this is another one. Expect to get paid is the profile of a Bourbon Stakes winner. The average winner in the last 10 years has paid close to $14. That's not bad. The race time favorite has won 3 of the last 10 and finished in money in 7 of the 10. So you might want to put the favorite in your exactas or trifectas, but not necessarily on top. And it looks to me like you want to have a horse on the outside because 6 of the last 10 winners broke from gates 9 and out, with the rail failing to win so far at all. 2 horses did manage to find their way into winner's circle from the 2 spot and the 5. So it's either outside or the 2 or 5. Tactical speed or deep closer. 5 of the last 10. So half of the last 10 horses, Tom, were either 10th, 11th, or 12th at the first call. And half were either within 2nd, 3rd, or 4th. So you either want to be like right off the pace or way, way, way in the back. So to me, it looks like the profile of a winner here is a deep closer, maybe right off the pace, outside draw that has odds of about 7-1. I think you'd be glad to have a 7-1 winner here, no?
Yeah.
Maybe? All right. So there's a lot of horses in this field, Tom. Here's what the pace looks like. Early pace, Heavenly Street, Stolen Base, Red Danger, Martini Moonshine, and then on the way home, Brits Wit, Lucky Boss, Tis the Bomb, Wait a Minute, Hayes. And again, with these 2-year-olds, I think what you've seen in the past doesn't necessarily mean it's what you'll see here. Do you see anything that you agree with, disagree with? What do you see?
I just couldn't even begin to give an opinion on it.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel in that respect too, because 2-year-olds, you just have no idea what they're going to do. But let's talk about the horses and see what we think they'll do at the end. The first horse on the rail, which I mentioned has yet to win in the last 10 years, is Brits Wit. What do you think about that? I think that speed number way too low, too much of improvement to get to the winner's circle. What do you think?
I think it's way too ambitious, stretching out from Indiana Downs to a grade 2, going in 2 turns versus 1 turn. Jermaine Bridgman, not exactly known for a lot of mounts, chooses not to come try to ride this horse. David Flores picks up the mount. Just the connections, it just doesn't add up. The works haven't done anything spectacular. It just over its head in a talented group.
Stolen Base. The last time out, the horse tried turf for the first time and probably ran one of its better races. Do you think it can improve in its second time on turf?
I think it can. I do think it can. It tired in the Saratoga Special. It stretched out to it's actually 1 turn at Kentucky Downs, but a 1 mile distance.
It's kind of like it might be 1 turn, but there's a couple wiggles in there too, though.
There's a whole lot of wiggles and uphill and everything like that. And this will help this horse. And I think the rider change to Pratt will help dramatically.
Well, yeah, and it gets that. And it gets that two post, which has been, if you're not outside, it's been one of the ones that you want to have. I don't even know what Dogawajika Chief. I don't even know if that's right. Last time out, showed some speed at 6.5 furlongs. Did run a mile and a 16th before and faded late. Do you think that the distance is too much?
I like the fact this horse got tired, but he went 9 furlongs. Dylan Davis was on the mound. I remember that race at Saratoga. Came back and broke its maiden at Kentucky Downs, which is either a blessing or a curse because of how specialized that track is. But I do think this horse is primed to move forward.
Martini and Moonshine. The horse won last time out. First time on the turf on the inner course at Saratoga. Huge bump up in the grass numbers. Maybe this is a horse for the turf kind of course.
I don't like this horse. I just, think it got on a real easy lead, went the first half in 49-3 and just loped along. Nothing from this race has come back and won or done anything to flatter that win.
Yeah, that's not a key race then. Rocket won last time out, 1 mile at that Kentucky Downs that wiggle and turns and uphill, downhill, ripples in the track. Just to me, it's not something you can compare to much anything else around here. But you think that can translate over to Keeneland?
But in one of Bill Mott's horses that he keeps in Kentucky, so probably second class in that division. So I'm going to say this one might get a shot at hitting the bottom end of the board, but that's it.
I do like the fact that you had some goody strong improvement in the back half of that race from the other two races that it started at. Credibility on the debut did well, was the betting favorite at Gulfstream Park. Next race was slated to go on turf, got taken off the turf, did not like the whatever off track at Gulfstream Park. Does a return to grass make a difference for credibility?
Now, this horse and the next one both, you're running against Gulfstream Park horses in the summer, very weak quality of horses. Cassie's number one horses are in Kentucky. His two horses are in two Summer String is in Canada. His third is in Gulfstream. So weak, moving on.
So Fast and Steady, you say the next two horses. Is this a weak move on too for you? Nice race last time out.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, I don't think the numbers here have to improve a lot, though. It has improved 3 races in a row. So if it can improve in a 4th race, maybe it has a shot. Wait a minute, Hayes. Speed horse last time out on the slop. When it did run on turf, it didn't contend whatsoever at all. Maybe the distance, adding some distance and going back to turf would be enough, or another simply forgettable.
We're going from Evangeline to Keeneland. That's not going to happen. So we got other quality horses to look at.
Yeah, it doesn't happen that often. It's not my favorite angle either, small track to big track. All right, Kentucky Downs, 6th place finisher last time, was okay bet in a $500,000 race. So it took a big step up from its maiden at Gulfstream. Any chance that it can improve at this level?
I think it can improve, but I think it's against it today. And the fact that Gaff Leone has its choice and rides somewhere else, and you end up with Corey Lannery, who's not a very good turf rider.
All right. Number 10. Wow, that was accelerating fast here. Red Danger. Last 2 races were at 5.5 and 6.5 furlongs, but did show some late legs at Kentucky Downs and at Saratoga. I feel like this horse looks like one on paper that's on an upswing, but with these 2-year-olds, getting 4 races in a row where they improve can be difficult.
I think that on paper, and this horse will be supported at the windows, I think this horse at the very best, it's the bottom of the superfecta.
All right. Heaven Street. So a horse that is coming off a win at 1 mile at Kentucky Downs, has improved generally from race to race to race. Will be up probably right off the pace. So it could be one of those off the pace horses that we talked about in the profile of a winner that's not on the lead, tactical speed that brings it home late and does have an outside draw.
Huge class jump today for this horse. Normally, I'm a huge Asmussen fan. I like the other Asmussen horse on the also eligible much better, my friend.
If they can get in, but there'll probably be a scratch or two. Tis the Bomb. Brian Hernandez Jr. horse has won its last race by 3/4. The one before that on an off track smoked the field by 14. Improved 3 races in a row. Second off a layoff. Bullet workout at Keeneland. I remember Mike Smith said, pay attention to how horses train at the track they're going to run. It's usually a good sign. Horse has been training exceptionally well at Keeneland. What do you think?
All systems go. Single this horse in your late double and everything. Class of the field. Yeah.
Tom's. Hey, that's a pretty bold statement with 2-year-olds, with 14 2-year-olds singling one. I mean, especially outside draw. I mean, so much stuff can happen. At least on the outside, though, you can see everything in front of you. Lucky Boss, Irad Ortiz. This horse is another that's improved 3 races in a row. Has taken a little bit of time off since running on August 15th. The workout since have been but I don't know how much emphasis Kenneth McPeak puts on getting the horses out in their training sessions.
He does not, but this horse is just a little bit weaker. And the fact that obviously Hernandez jumps on the barmate instead of this one, you got to play one. So leave this one off.
Number 14, and then we head off into the also eligibles, is Play Action Pass. Got some early speed last time out, ran a nice speed figure, but then faded at the end. So I don't know that adding distance is actually to his benefit.
Nope. Play against it. Play against pass, what they ought to call it.
All right, play against pass. Number 15 is Vivar. It is an also eligible, and it's got to scratch into the race. Speed figures are way below some of the top numbers in this field, but maybe it'll get a little bit of action with Florent Garou and Brad Cox.
If he scratches in with considering that he won on a yielding course, I will play him with the 12 on the top line.
Number 16 finishes this big field. Again, if this one scratches in, Red Run, Ricardo Santana Jr. and Steve Asmussen. Horse looks like it tries to close, maybe could be all the way at the back of the pack. And if it's all the way at the back of the pack, that's been a plan that's actually worked in the past 10 years. Any chance that Red Run can take his run from the caboose to the locomotive?
No.
Yeah, I agree with you. Probably not. All right, Tom, 16 horses. Well, 14 horses, a wide open bunch of 2-year-olds. I know you already mentioned that Tiz the Bomb is your single. So behind the single, who do you have?
I will take the 12 over the 3, over the 2, over the 5.
He's got all them inside horses despite the history of outside horses. I'm going all outside, Tom. I'm going to go with the 10, Red Danger. Number 12, Tiz the Bomb. Number 14, Play Action, Pass, in a different sense of pass from Tom. And then number 11, Heaven Street. That wraps up our not Kentucky Derby, but that wraps up our Breeders' Cup qualifying challenge series to win in your in races. There's one more race on the 13th, and then it's all set up for Breeders' Cup. And then Tom and I will be focused on this point going forward on Kentucky Derby qualifiers. Any final thoughts about the this big weekend of Breeders' Cup racing?
Yep.
That's it. All righty, man.
I didn't hear you. You broke up on me. So
I'm saying, just any final thoughts before we get up and get out of here?
No. Just remember, you're betting these races how they win today, not how they're going to run in 4 weeks.
Absolutely, for sure. All right, make sure, as I mentioned at the top, if you like what you saw, hit the subscribe button down there on YouTube. Follow us on Facebook. Give us a like. Follow us on Twitter. If you can give us a thumbs up or a like, that helps us in the algorithms. Until we meet again, Tom, as always, may all of your Breeders' Cup picks find their way into the winner's circle.